how do you see AI transforming inventory management and kind of the customer experience in the next 5 years?
If you're a business, you've got, say, $10 million in inventory costs, no matter how efficiently your business is run, typically 20 to 30% is going to be waste. With AI, with machine learning, with predictive analytics, we could help our clients on how much they need to stock or how much we'll sell tomorrow, next week, next month.
Welcome to the Warehouse Insider Podcast. I am your co-host, Cliff Hardesty, joined by my co-host, Jeremy Hess from Bullseye Computing. How are you doing today?
Hey, Cliff. How you doing? Good.
Pretty good. So I'm excited today. We have Jerry Abiog from Standard Insights. How you doing, Jerry?
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so we're excited to learn about AI and just learn more about your story. Just to let the listeners know, we've known Jerry for probably a couple of years now, and we formed a partnership together, and we try to help our customers with AI inventory predictability through his solution. It's been a good partnership. I know in a couple of weeks we're going to be exhibiting at the American Food and Beverage Show, so I know we're excited about that. So I guess my first question is, how did your journey kind of lead you into co-founding Standard Insights, and kind of what was your initial vision behind the company?
Yeah, Cliff, great question. First, thanks for having me on. So it basically started 10, 12 years back. I had left the corporate world. And after doing that, I started my own business, helping software companies with sales and marketing initiatives. And along the way, I had one of my clients. So this was going back mid-2010, so 2016, 2017. Was an AI machine learning client of mine. While that company failed, I learned a lot, and the brief time I was there, I guess saw something that was bubbling beneath the surface with AI and machine learning. Really couldn't pinpoint what it was, at that time, but I kind of knew something was there. And as this company was closing up shop, imploding just through serendipitous events, through mutual friends. I met some folks, my old co-founder, he worked for General Electric as a technological architect. He had developed a prototype of this tool, which was the bare bones version of we have right now, where you could help businesses leverage their data and make predictions around it to target the right person with the right product at the right time. So knowing what I learned, the previous company, I flew from Atlanta to where I live to Denver to the outdoor retail show, and literally cold called on every booth there about AI and machine learning. So this was around 2017, 2018. No one knew what the hell AI was. No one knew how to spell it. But when I came back to Atlanta a week later, had secured 2 beta clients and developed Standard Insights at that point in time. And I wouldn't say we were off to the races, because we weren't. I mean, it was slow going, but that's how quick version how things got started.
That's an interesting story. Yeah, I really didn't know that. You got started and stuff, so that's cool. You kind of got into AI before it was cool.
Yeah, way before it was cool. In fact, if you look on LinkedIn, I posted a couple months ago, it was an article I had written. It was I think in 2017. So yeah, well before everyone knew what it was.
So would you say that was the point where you thought that AI-driven operations would be essential for supply chain businesses? Was there a specific moment that you were kind of all in on it?
Yeah, right after so it wasn't at that point in time. It was just trying to figure things out after everyone was getting back from COVID. And so what's that saying? Pennies from heaven, high interest rates, right? After COVID, the interest rates started to zoom up. Inflation, labor shortages. And then the American work ethic started to change, where there was a lot of, quiet quitting. So all this stuff started to snowball. And then now it was a year and a half ago, ChatGPT came around. So now everyone knew about AI.
Yeah, this is my next question. So my next question is, how has the rise of, LLMs and the popularity in the last year and a half, how has that impacted your business? Probably positively, right?
Yeah, I mean, I tell folks it's both a blessing and a curse. a blessing that, we're having conversations with a lot of people. Curse, because a lot of people have unrealistic expectations of AI, mainly brought on by being gaslit by the media.
Yeah. Do you think they're jaded by the amount of just buzzword kind of traffic there is nowadays?
Yeah, there is. They're jaded, and then you see people on LinkedIn, right, that are posting like nonsense, about AI. And if you look under a profile, like, oh, they just started posting like 18 months ago, last month. And, I was joking with someone else. I know football season's about to start. So this is the, what do they call the people that like think they're better than the players, right? Have talks with C-level exec. And I had just a big conversation, last week where this exec worked with, multi-million-dollar clients. He's like, Jerry, I let folks know about your guys' services. They're interested, but yet they're hesitant just because the stock market has been tanking lately with the over exuberance, with AI. So what I, told, our clients, like, hey, we just got to pump the brakes, start small, crawl, walk, run. AI is not going to solve all your inventory problems, but we can solve a good bit of it by analyzing the data that you have. In your case, Jeremy, the data that's in your WMS system.
Not to monopolize your question time, Cliff, but I was curious. I heard this at the ScanSource conference last week, I think, either from a keynote speaker or from a person talking about how companies are reluctant to adopt new, particularly AI, probably systems before the election results. And I thought that was interesting on how like people are kind of waiting to see what happens with that before they invest in like new kind of technological transformation, especially with how it might impact their supply chain or like their business model.
And it's a good point. I think I read something this morning around that on the Wall Street Journal. But regardless of, it doesn't matter what, political aisle you're on. At the end of the day, you as a business are responsible for, your company, and the stuff that we have going on right now. Doesn't matter who's president, the high interest rates, inflation, the debt, the changing work culture, that's not going to, change, right? Some industries may be impacted more, some less. That's why we're trying to have like the pocket knife approach or the MMA fighter approach, that we're have our hands in different businesses, right? Or in different verticals. So food and beverage, healthcare, cannabis, and there's a bunch more. And depending on who's elected or where that election goes, okay, maybe for this portion of time we'll focus on this vertical, and then another portion of time, depending who gets elected, we'll focus on this vertical. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of things are happening that are out of control that businesses have to take a look at and have to act on, right? So I understand to your point that people are hesitant to writing those checks, right, until they know who gets elected.
Yeah, I think there's just been a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
This year, and that the market doesn't like uncertainty.
Yep.
That's what they were talking about at the conference. Like what Jeremy was saying, everybody's just waiting to see what is going to happen, start making decisions after the election. I think it's been kind of a slow year for a lot of people. I'd say we've kind of felt it a little bit, just talking to customers. They're not as willing to send out POs.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of conversations and not a lot of signatures, I guess.
Yeah.
Or less than we, probably would.
I feel like, too, it's been like a lot more work to get like the same amount of money the last couple of years, if that makes sense. Like there's...
Yeah, for sure. The bubble pops on COVID, right?
Yeah.
And everyone kind of backed away.
Yeah.
So speaking of what you guys have talked about, so I read an article that like big name companies that we know of today, like, Microsoft or, Uber Eats, Airbnb, a lot of those, Netflix, a lot of those companies took off or were formed, during recessions, right? When was the last big recession? 2008, 2009, Blockbuster went way out. Netflix was around, or we're still doing DVDs. But over time, hey, people started the online streaming, right? The online streaming services. So I think Yes, people are hesitant. Yes, companies are hesitant. They're holding on tight to their wallets. But those companies, those leaders that get outside of their comfort zone, I feel will be a step ahead than those folks that don't.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, a downturn in the market's an opportunity. If you don't take an emotional approach and you think logically,
Yep.
right? I think Warren Buffett said that, or something along those lines, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, I think there's always an opportunity when there's a downturn in the market. I mean, that's the time to buy. Anyways, to keep kind of the conversation going about AI, I know kind of with the rise of AI and warehousing, how do you see AI transforming inventory management and kind of the customer experience in the next 5 years?
It could save businesses a lot of money to impact their bottom line. So, case in point, if you're a business and you say you've got, say, $10 million in inventory costs. In fact, I just posted this morning on LinkedIn. No matter how efficiently your business is run, typically 20 to 30% is going to be waste, on inventory. So I didn't make that up. That was a study done by someone else. So if you're a business, you've got $10 million in inventory, let's just say $2 million is waste. With AI, with machine learning, with predictive analytics, we could help our clients predict down to the SKU and variant level on how much they need to stock or how much will sell tomorrow, next week, next month.
I'm curious what that waste is coming from. Like, it just seems like a generic category to me. Is that like shrinkage? Is that expiration? Is it incorrectly stocked?
A lot, all those. So you mentioned something incorrectly stocked, min-max, quantity. So it's awesome that a lot of, middleware can give you visibility to your platform, but a lot of times those are arbitrary guesses on the min and max models, right? Oh, hey, cool, I can show you them.
Well, typically they're based on historical information, right? Like,
correct, but how far or how deep, do they go? And they predict everything down to the SKU and variant level and let you know. And not saying that predictive analytics, machine learning, or any of these algorithms, like regression analytics, will get everything perfect, but you don't need to get it perfect. You got $10 million in inventory, right? $2 million in waste. But if you can predict with a decent amount of certainty and save that client $2 million in waste, maybe up to $500,000, that's a good bit of savings from that initial $2 million, in waste. Likewise, you take it to the other end, with sales. You're in the supply chain, you're in distribution, and say maybe you're in healthcare. And you've got you're a distributor, right? And you've got 100,000 products, right? And maybe 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 clients. With AI, machine learning, clustering and algorithms, you can predict what each of those 5,000 to 6,000 businesses are likely to buy amongst those 100,000 products that they offer. Now, and you try to target those folks with the right person, with the right product at the right time. Amazon, you may target like 10 people, right? Not all 10 will buy those product suggestions, but if 2 people buy, that's 20%, the same thing. So I like to tell people it's, the rule of 20. You're not going to get 100%, right? But if you can get 20, 25, save inventory on the back end or improve sales, on the front end, that could be a big boon to your business, to your top and bottom line.
That's interesting. So I think there is with AI, I think there's some concerns out there too, right? And I think data privacy is probably a big one there. So I'm just kind of curious, like, how does Standard Insights address these concerns?
So we take all the appropriate measures to safeguard data. And the one thing, I guess, our elevator pitch is, if you will, is we help businesses leverage their first-party data to help them build their economic moat. So we're only leveraging.
Can you define first-party data just for people who don't?
Yeah, GPT, that is not first-party data. That's pulling data from everywhere. Like Facebook, right? You buy ads there, Facebook or these third-party ordering platforms. You don't own that data, right? Facebook does. So we're just focused on the data that's sitting, within your ERP, within your WMS, within spreadsheets, within your e-commerce platform, within your point of sale. We're focused on leveraging that data to give that business a competitive advantage.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are concerned about AI. They're scared, right? When they hear the word AI, they don't really know what it means, right? So I think it's important to kind of, reassure people that you're just, using first party data and
Yeah, Chat GPT, that's using, data from everywhere. Even if you're using the paid version, which is $20, I believe. I mean, most people are using it for free. I mean, how, you get what you pay for, right?
yeah. Yeah.
It's free. They're only going to take some, so much precautions, right? Even if you paid a $20, right? So people get excited, they get all jazzed up for the wrong reasons, get scared for the wrong reasons. But if you're paying, a company good money to integrate, implement that solution within their platform, it's not cheap. Running all that data through an engine is not cheap, but you got to take everything with, with a grain of salt. And that's where a lot of people get things wrong, because ChatGPT, that's just all that stuff is open source.
So that kind of leads me into my next question. So what are some of the biggest challenges, I guess, you faced in convincing companies to adopt AI-driven solutions?
I can't mention this earlier. I mean, we were talking to a client last week that, they're interested, but then they're hesitant. A lot of stuff is they see in the news. A lot of the big seven have had a rough, couple weeks, couple months, or they're really wondering, is it, going to help or hurt me, or is it even valid? And I always try to educate. We're never going to swing for the fences when trying to land a client. So we just take a crawl one approach, base hit. Maybe we'll start off with a small proof of concept. Hey, Cliff, hey, Jeremy, give us your flat files. We'll put together analysis, take a look at it. I mean, obviously there's a cost to that, depending on how many data points you give us. But then from there, they can make it, once they get that, they'll have their own login and password. They can see everything. Whether you're, a wine shop, distributor, or anywhere in between, you can see that. And then from there, they can make the decision, hey, do we go or no go to integration or implementation to whatever software platform that they want.
So you think that the initial time to value is the biggest barrier right now in adopting?
Yeah, I try to, I guess, dumb it down with the 3 A's, right? Can I get access, to the data, right? Now, okay, what do you do with that data? Now we got access, we analyze that data. And then lastly, is taking action with that data. Now we're talking about, implementation, integration within your company's ecosystem.
So can you give an example or a success story that you've had recently with a company to kind of exemplify those?
I guess I'll give you one. Packaging company. They found us. I think I was giving a talk on AI and machine learning a few years back. They gave us their data. We analyzed it. This is what it could look like. Cool. They see it. Now let's go forward with the project. So, similar to what the big four consulting companies, they typically start off with a business review, right? And then they analyze, present their findings, and then do you go no go with the project? So that's a similar approach that that we have. It's not as simple as signing up for like a ChatGPT subscription, $20. No, that's not it. It's a lot more involved when you're doing this type of work and helping clients out.
What would you say, like looking ahead, what emerging technologies or trends do you believe will have the biggest impact on the warehousing industry? And, how are you and Standard Insights preparing to leverage these?
We're all going to Miami in a few weeks. So what I see for a trade show, what I see in the future is, hardware companies, the integration companies, WMS, middleware or ERP companies, and then analytics companies such as ourselves, all partnering together under one cohesive unit. We can't do it all, right? Our lane is developing software and making predictions and analysis, right? So other folks have other, expertise. So I see that in the future, partnership amongst like-minded companies. And I think I posted on LinkedIn, like in a 4x100 relay, right? So
do we think that's different from the past? Do we think that people, I guess, is there like an upward trend of that needing to happen? And what are the drivers for that? I mean, is it just by virtue of a fluid supply chain? Is it that there's just so much more information out there?
companies have to, what can I do to make this work, help my company become efficient? And, for us, it's engaging with guys like you, on the hardware side. Our platform, I mean, while it does hold data, it's not like a WMS platform that holds the first, could be argued, the first point of contact, in the warehouse, right? Because all that data that you're scanning with hardware, Cliff's guys, that has to go somewhere. That doesn't go to us. So it goes to guys like you in your platform, and then we come in behind and analyze that. So I think as time goes on, and we've got a lot of these business challenges that I don't think is going to go anywhere, these companies have to, come together. Yeah, sort of like what movie was that? Rocky IV or Rocky V, where Apollo and Rocky partnered up to fight the Russians, right?
Last couple questions. If you had to give yourself one piece of advice when you were starting Standard Insights, now that you've had 7 or 8 years of that under your belt, what would you say to yourself 7 years ago?
Yeah, don't give up. Right, just keep plugging away. It's not going to be easy. I mean, we start off with 4 co-founders. I'll be honest, the first 2, they didn't want to put in the work. You're going to have to work a lot of hours, times in the weekends, and you just can't, turn it off. I know there's a big push, like, work-life balance, but it's those folks, again, God bless them. You don't have to be running, gunning all the time, but yeah, just never give up. You got to work your ass off. I don't know how else to say it.
I think anybody that's ever accomplished anything great didn't have much of a work-life balance. I think it's a good employee mindset, but being like leaders in our companies, there's not much of a work-life balance. I mean, I tell my wife, like, at night, if I get an email or a call from a customer, I'm taking it. I mean, that's just how it is when you're in a small business. So one last question. It's like, on a personal level, what drives you to keep innovating in the AI space? And what legacy do you hope to leave through your work at Standard Insights?
As in life, you're looking to improve, on things, right? Look for other opportunities. Now we don't need, VC funding, because we've got, money coming in from software projects. And then once those software projects are done, sell those as, license. So it's recurring revenue. So it's always looking to grow and expand and learn every day. And as far as, what legacy want to live, build an empire, right? And even if we sold, Standard Insights for $1 billion, I may take a break for a couple of days, but then now I got to figure out, what next?
Well, I think a lot of people are like that are in the entrepreneur space, that they'd rather make $75,000 working for themselves than $1 million working for someone else. They just enjoy the freedom and the grind of being an entrepreneur, kind of like yourself. So
yeah, that dovetails in not taking VC funding, because once you take VC funding, you're not really the boss anymore. I mean, you may appear to be the boss on paper, but you're not the boss anymore.
Yeah, I think that's everything. I think we covered a lot of topics there. I know I learned a lot. Hopefully our audience learned something there as well. So, well, thank you, Jerry.
Hey, thanks, guys.
We appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. We're looking forward to the American Food and Beverage Show. So anybody that's interested in that show, feel free to reach out to any one of us, either on LinkedIn, or we'll have our contact information in the show notes on Spotify, so you can get in touch with us if you'd like to attend. We have guest passes available, so just let us know and we'll get you a guest pass and you can come check it out. We'd love for you to stop by our booth. With that, we thank you guys. We'll catch you on the next episode.